Would improving your pronunciation in English make you more confident when communicating with native English speakers? In this video, I'll answer the question, how long does it take to get an American accent? And how you can start today to feel more comfortable speaking English. At the end, I'll give you 3 tips that will dramatically improve your English pronunciation fast. Okay, how long does it take to get an American accent? Okay, the short answer is anywhere from 3 months to a lifetime. So let me explain a little bit more about the elements that are involved that can make it either a short amount of time or a lifetime. It really depends on many factors. So let's walk through things that you need to be aware of when it comes to learning the American accent. First of all, you need to know where you're starting, okay? Are you more at a beginner level? Are you more advanced? Are you somewhere in between? When did you start learning English? How many error patterns do you have in your American English pronunciation and your accent? What is your native language? Is the rhythm similar or different? Okay, so many of these factors have to be looked at when it comes to figuring out how long it's going to take you. Because obviously if you're a more beginner level, you didn't learn English until you were an adult versus in your adolescence. Those are going to really affect how long it takes to acquire the American accent. Within my program at Pronunciation Pro, I offer a full accent assessment. And what that is just a full evaluation of our students' accents. And what that does is it just gives a very clear picture of where you're starting from. What error patterns do you have, and what's different between what you're doing and a native English speaker. And it kind of creates this path or this program for you that can lead you from where you are now to sounding more like a native English speaker. But you don't necessarily have to have that assessment done. You just need to bring a lot more awareness of what sounds am I doing incorrectly? What ways am I sounding more foreign versus native? Okay, so that is what you have to really take a look at. The second element we need to look at is, what is your goal? Okay, is your goal sounding completely 100% native, or is your goal to be clearly understood and to feel confident that you don't have to repeat yourself and that you're clearly understood every time you speak? Maybe you just don't want to be asked where you're from. That's a common question that native speakers tend to ask our students, is like, where were you from? Once they kind of pick up on a little bit of an accent. And I have all sorts of thoughts about that question and how we can reframe that in our mind to build confidence now. But for now, let's just kind of look at, what are your goals? What are you hoping for as you are working to improve your American English pronunciation and your accent? All right, the next element we need to look at is, how much will you practice? What are you willing to put into this? So like any skill you are going to develop, it requires practice. Are you going to put in a more casual effort or more intense daily practice? Some of our students who are actors tend to put in a lot more time and energy into that because it's their livelihood, it's their career to be able to speak in a specific way. But most of our students are more just business professionals. They're wanting to advance in their career, become managers and leaders within their company. They need to speak English clearly, but does it matter that they sound like a native? Probably not. Would it be great? Yes, but do they really care to put that much time and focus into it? Not really, because they have busy lives. There's a lot going on with family and with work that maybe they can't spend hours and hours a day working on it. So this element of how much are you willing to practice is probably the biggest indicator of growth. It really shows me, okay, how quickly are you going to be able to improve? Learning the American accent is not just a natural ability that most people acquire without a lot of effort. But you have to look at, how much are you really willing to put into this practice. And what I've seen with my students is, if you're willing to put even 10 minutes a day into it, you're going to improve. You're going to keep moving forward and improve and level up in your spoken English. So you kind of have to look at, how much time do I have and how much do I really want to put into this? The final element we have to look into as to how fast it takes or how long it's going to take to acquire the American accent is, are you getting direct feedback to know how to practice and if the practice that you're doing is correct? And maybe you have a native English speaking friend that you can get that feedback from. Or you hire a trained professional like myself, through the pronunciation program to help really train that skill for you. Okay, this can determine how fast you grow. Okay, are you getting a volunteer coach or are you getting more of an Olympic level coach? Okay, those elements are going to really make a difference as to how fast you're going to improve. Okay, so I hate to be so unclear in this answer to your question of how long does it take to learn the American accent. But as you can see, there are many factors. There are a lot of elements that affect how long it's going to take to really learn and perfect that American accent. Okay, however, in the last 14 years that I've been training non-native English speakers to speak with an American accent, I've seen it happen over and over and over again, where that skill is built, that confidence is built. Then my students go on to do incredible things with their careers and with their lives because that communication in English is not a barrier. So now, I want to really dive into these 3 easy tips that will help you dramatically improve your pronunciation right now. Okay, this is something that I love giving my new students because the results come quickly. Okay, so here's what you can do right now, today, to quickly improve your spoken English. Okay, the first one is slow down. Slowing down your spoken English is going to make the most significant difference in the way that you speak and speaking more like a native English speaker. Okay, because what it does is it slows down your mind so you're able to think more clearly, and it gives your mouth more time to get into position. So we really want that awareness to come. Okay, so when we slow down and you're able to hear what you're saying and correct yourself, that makes the biggest difference. And what I found with my students is when they slow down, they're correcting themselves. They're correcting so many of their own mistakes just by slowing down. The second tip is move your mouth, okay? We have to get fuller movements of the mouth. A lot of my students come in and they're just barely opening their mouth when they're speaking. The bigger mouth movement, the more clear that sound is going to come out. It's going to feel very awkward at first. That's okay. It's uncomfortable to do this work. You have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to do new things to get new results. So let's move our mouth more. The next one is speak louder, all right? So it's very common to think that when I don't fully know how to pronounce something correctly, then I'm gonna say it quiet and maybe nobody will notice. But that really has the opposite effect. It makes it even harder to understand those mispronunciations when you're speaking quiet and mispronouncing it. So speaking up, speaking louder, definitely helps that communication, but it also helps you get in your mouth into position when you're projecting your voice more. There's more precise movements of the mouth when you're speaking louder. Okay, I love it. Now you may have a personality that is a little bit more shy or quiet, and so this is really difficult to project your voice louder, but just do it, practice it alone. Do it on your own time before you speak with other people, and just start getting comfortable with it and just play around with it, because I know it will make a huge difference. Okay, so slow down. It's the very most important thing. Move your mouth and speak up. So definitely use these 3 tips today, and I guarantee you'll have more success right away. So if you want to learn more about how to speak American English like a native speaker, go ahead and check out my next video.